All right, good afternoon. My name is Nate Sirota with the Honolulu Department of Parks and Recreation. Welcome here to Waialua District Park, the site of the Community Assistance Center. We're here to provide some updates about that center, some integration of the community-led distribution hub from the Sugar Mill site over here to Waialua District Park, some sharing of resources over for a resource fair in Laie this Saturday, and also the restoration of the fire station in Waialua. But before I get to that, I'd like to introduce the 15th Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, Mayor Rick Blangiardi.
Thank you, Nate. Well, we have a lot of information to share with you today, and I'm just here today to tell you at the outset, I'm here with really a grateful heart, deep respect for this community and the way it pulled together, and all the people, men and women on the state side and the city and county that have worked really hard to help with the recovery process. I've been out here now, this is my 6th trip in the last 12 days. It's afforded me the opportunity to see it every other day, if you will. And I think the amount of success we've had in our cleanup with debris and hauling, knowing full well we've got a long road ahead in recovery. But honestly, what's gotten done even in the past 8 days since we did our neighborhood board meeting out here is the stuff of just a lot of hard work, focus, and people committed to helping other people. So we want to share this information with you. I think it really does streamline things for our community here. We know there's still a lot of need. We want to address that need. We'll continue to address that need. We won't leave here until we feel like we've addressed everybody's needs. But then again, there will be some things that could go beyond that. So I'm here just to support the people you're going to hear from, but I'm also very grateful to them. The leadership from our first responders and the leadership across the board. I want to give Ed Snifford a shout out. The Department of Transportation has been great, but everybody who's responded to this situation has done so in an excellent manner. And so in that way, I just want to ensure that we reassure the public we're on this, we're going to stay on it, and you can count on us. Okay? Thank you.
Aloha everybody, my name is Joey Cadiz. I'm a community member out here in the North Shore area. Basically, I'm here to just acknowledge that the hub that we had created with the Sugar Mill Distillery, we will be in transition to working our way down to the district park in conjunction with the CAC that's here at the gym. This is an opportunity for us to consistently work together with the support of our city and the state. This is fully community-led. This is people donating things, and we have a system that we have coordinated with various organizations so that we have opportunities for community members to come and pick up the supplies and the needs that they need, mostly the essentials, for them to come, and we have a time frame that will be listed along with this whole project. So basically we're just acknowledging that we're thankful for the distillery to have held space for us up until this point, and we will be transitioning down to this location starting Friday. Tomorrow is going to be a break on Thursday as we transition that space and all the materials and supplies that we have going down here. And Friday we will be open for services from 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock with a break for school. We'll do 2 to 4 p.m., a little break, and 4:30 to 7 o'clock we'll be open for more opportunities for people to come and get those services. So thank you from the community, and we're here to help in any capacity that we can.
Aloha nui a kākou. My name is Rainbow Uli'ia Kina, as you said, Executive Director at Key Project. We are a part of the Ko'olau Resilience Hub Network. We stretch across Ko'olau. Right now, we're primarily focusing our efforts in Ko'olau Loa, so from Ka'a'awa to Waimea, as we know that folks there have been heavily inundated with flooding. And so we completed RFAs for community members, collected over 900 surveys, and have determined that they're in a lot of need right now for additional assistance. So we're grateful to be able to be partnering with the city with this, and on Saturday, April 4th, we are going to be launching a community assistance center out of BYUH Old Gym from 12 to 5 p.m. So we encourage community members who have a need to please come visit us, to come and get the resources that you need. Once again, we're really grateful for all of the community work on the ground that has been happening with just community members. We're grateful for the opportunity to work alongside them as organizations of the Ko'olau Resilience Hub Network, and we're also grateful to be partnering finally with the city and county for this. So mahalo, aloha.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Jason Samala, I'm the Deputy Fire Chief. Yeah, I want to thank the community and all the partners, right? DFM, DIT, and our contractors who help speed up the recovery and restoration of our station. As you know, we live among the community, right? We're part of the community, and our station was flooded and damaged as well as some of the other community members. I'm happy to report that as of tomorrow, we will be operating and dispatching out of our Waialua Fire Station out in Haleiwa Beach Road. Thank you. Thank you for all your support.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Major Clifford Ramson. I'm with the Honolulu Police Department, but today I'm also speaking to you as the commander of the Honolulu Incident Management Team. So the HIMT, what we've been charged with is basically coordinating all the various state, county, and different agencies in this overall effort with debris removal, cleanup, and restoration of services. And I can tell you that's coming along very smoothly right now, and a lot of progress has been made. Primarily, we're looking at debris removal and removal of all the mud that were inundating a lot of the homesteads or a lot of the homes and a lot of the roadways, and we've opened up a lot of the roadways. Those efforts obviously will continue throughout the weekend, but we're making steady progress. Another thing that I've been charged with is ensuring that there's proper law enforcement support for those efforts. So once again, law enforcement will continue to be present throughout the operation, making sure that we have traffic control to try to push traffic through those areas that are congested. There's going to probably still be a little bit of congestion as this operation goes on, but we're doing everything we can to try to keep traffic flowing smoothly, ensure that everyone is safe, but also to make sure that we have a law enforcement presence at night, a visible presence to ensure that there's no crimes that may occur during the hours of darkness, especially in those affected areas. We're also working closely with our partners at the National Guards. We've got about 100 plus National Guardsmen every day that go out there, boots in the mud, that are assisting with debris removal from homes and roadways and whatnot. And those folks have been making some steady progress. And we're actually looking at some of the outlier areas now that may have also been affected by the storm to determine their needs and to see what else can be done to assist those folks outside of the Waialua and Haleiwa areas as well. Once again, I'd like to thank the community's support. They've been very supportful. I can tell you this much: the first responders, the guardsmen that are out there, they want to be here. It's a chance for them to go out there and do what they came on the job to do. And everybody looks forward every day to coming out here and getting a chance to give back to the community. Thank you. Appreciate it.
A few additional logistical details about how the addition of the community-led distribution hub here at the district park is going to operate. So they're primarily going to be operating right here out of the paved parking lot. The field parking lot right behind you folks is going to remain for anyone accessing the assistance center. And again, those hours of operation for the assistance center are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. As Joey mentioned, for the distribution hub beginning here at Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then coming back from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. With that, I'd like to open it up to any questions.
Yeah, pretty much daily we reassess the needs. We're obviously measuring progress daily with the amount of debris removal, and mainly we're looking at as we go through block by block, street by street, we're constantly reassessing where we need to go to next. As far as the guardsmen go, it's my understanding that is being looked at if need be. They may be kept on longer to continue those efforts. And like I said, at this time, we're actually starting to look in areas outside of the immediate area that may also require assistance. So definitely those needs are constantly being reassessed, and if need be, they'll continue on longer. Same with all the other first responders and Honolulu Police Department support as well.
Yeah, it's probably a very different judging from what you've seen with that.
It's hard to say if we're strictly talking about debris removal, talking about mud and debris removal. We're making a lot of progress here in Waialua and Haleiwa. I know the National Guard was estimating maybe a few more days of hard work out there, just clearing out the debris removal collection sites and getting those moved along. Of course, that's not to say there's still a lot of social services and other issues that still have to be taken care of here as well. But just from strictly debris removal, restoration of the roadways, opening the roadways back up again, and critical infrastructure restoration, I think we're making some pretty steady progress. So I know for sure probably just removal of debris and mud, probably a few more days is what we're looking at. Thank you.
I had a question for fire, if that's okay.
Sure. Just one bit of additional information. Our partners at the Department of Environmental Services are also providing curbside pickup of storm debris on Monday morning. So they're asking residents to place their storm debris along curbside and city and county roads Sunday into Monday morning so that they can provide that service. There are some details about what kind of debris that they can put out there. If you go to EMV's website, Department of Environmental Services, you can find that. And sorry, Kimber, what was your question?
Yeah, I had a question more about the restoration of the station. Just can we replace?
Yeah, I'm glad to provide that. Yeah, so the station provided, it was limited to the first floor. Based on the watermark, it was about 1 to 2 feet along the walls. So what it damaged was the kitchen, the captain's office and the dorm, the apparatus bay floor, including one of the roll-up doors was damaged just by the pressure of the water coming into it. But it's an old building, right? Built in 1932, so concrete, a little bit easier to restore. I think they're in the process of drying it out right now and sanitizing everything. So I think the damage was fairly minimal, which contributed to us moving back so quickly. Yeah, you're correct. So behind the station, we are co-located with the Emergency Medical Services. They're currently out of their facility. I'm not sure where they're currently operating out of, but I can confirm they are behind us.
You know?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really answer to that.
Know anything about an ambulance that was damaged, maybe not usable anymore?
Yeah, sorry, that's a different department. We've heard there was an ambulance that maybe got stuck in the water, but I can't really confirm it. Those are just kind of talk that we've been hearing.
No, I think we're still waiting here. We have FEMA. They were here today, and we've been in conversations with them. But as far as White House and what might get appropriated, that's why we're going through so much right now to make sure every T is crossed, I is dotted. We went through the damage assessment teams for FEMA. We met the thresholds. Everything's sort of in place. I want to talk about another element. You know, the dynamics of this, you know, all began with really no warning. You know, the more than 10 inches of rainfall in such a short period of time and all the damage that it caused. So to take nothing away from who we are, we knew we were going to need help, given the significance of this. So we actually have, to augment what Major's leading here as part of his command, we brought in 14 people from the New York Fire Department to join our incident management team, and 7 from South Carolina. These are 21 men and women with a tremendous amount of experience, not the least of which is we brought in to help us with the hauling when we set up our temporary landfill site up at the Central Oahu Regional Park Corp, a company from the mainland, DHC. And these guys have been incredible to work with as well in setting everything up. Lots of experience, lots of know-how. And as we begin to transition here from this debris cleanup, if you will, understanding the long road ahead, the whole thing of recovery requires experience and not. So we're going to go from basically calling audibles on every play to game planning. And that's also going to help us determine the length of stay, time, whatever, based on other people's experience and their knowledge. So we're using every resource we can possibly get. We've not, and I want to also give a shout out to Mayor Kawakami, who's with me today, because the Kauai sent their top 4 people over to work in our operations center as well. And they've already proven to be really good. So, you know, we're doing this by the day. This is really a lot of unprecedented circumstances. I said at the outset, I'm going to say it again. I'm very proud of what's been done. The progress to date has been nothing short of stellar. And I'm not sheepish about that, because you have to recognize hard work and good work when you see it. And that's exactly what's gone on. But there's a lot of variables in this, and we're trying to draw down on as much intelligence on how to deal with this, how to transition, especially when we start getting into the accountability and the record keeping, everything else you have to do to satisfy FEMA, to qualify for outside monies, relief. I know I saw an estimate now that it's come up to over $2 billion is what they're estimating, and today's headline was $100 million at the city. I'm not exactly sure of any of those numbers. Those numbers have not been discussed with me, but they're big enough to know that as part of the recovery phase in making people whole and places whole, we're going to need financial relief. So we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure we can maximize wherever we can get monies for to help us locally. I'll say this again for the last thing I'll say. The fact that nobody died in this tragic event is beyond my ability to express my appreciation. That is so profound in an incident of this kind. The fact that there were 233 heroic rescues made and look, these weren't just rescues. By definition, these are people who were in a life and death situation. Many were done by the community, but many were done by our first responders. In fact, that's how we lost the ambulance. You know, it was in the act of saving people. The fact that that is the reality, we don't have to lament the tragedy, if you will, of people dying. That now everything becomes a matter of time and money to fix and replace. So we go forward from here as intelligently and as aggressively as we possibly can to put this chapter behind us, but it will take time. It will take time. One of the things we've already learned, no matter how fast this recovery plan has been with respect to the debris clearance, there's a long road ahead of us. But we're preparing ourselves to do that and do that well on behalf of our community.
Yeah, because I'm sure at this point already you're looking after
Sure. Yes.
Hawaii after Iniki, those sorts of
Absolutely. The transitional phases ahead start to change, if you will, in the dynamics of what's required at that time. So, you know, we're going to bring, DPP is going to be doing a big thing out here with their entire team. We've already waived the permits, told people they could begin repairing if they could, but we want to come out and really help facilitate that. So I find us now commissioning, if you will, things we've never done before. This mainland team that we brought in to work with the debris up at Corp, we have never done that before. Bringing in incident management teams from New York with their incredible experience in South Carolina, and for that matter, asking Kauai. Derek Kawakami would be the first to tell you, usually it's Oahu going over there, you know, but we're in a place right now where we recognize the challenge of this, and we want to do it absolutely as best as we can. Okay? All
I
right.
have a question for Joey and
Yeah.
Rainbow. What are the most immediate needs for
As far as our end, we've definitely been able to tone down on volunteers. We've had an outpouring of volunteers, and now at this point, we're only asking for organized groups that we're able to send to specific locations to reach out to us. But as far as like people just with their day off or whatever it is, we don't need that outpouring anymore. We're very thankful for it. On the other side of it, as far as like the hub goes with donations, we only are accepting the essentials. Water is still a very high priority. That goes off the shelf probably the fastest of anything that we go. Other than that, light cleaning supplies and other things like that, but we're really just focusing on the essentials. It seems like people within the community are able to go out now to go and purchase the specific necessities that they have. But other than that, we're just trying to provide just backup and support for everybody. And if you have any more to touch on that.
Yeah, I think on our end in Ko'olaulua, we're phasing out of the throw away everything phase. You know, we still have a need for some roll-offs and maybe a temporary transfer station just to get rid of rubbish. But people are starting to rip out their drywall, you know, and so right now, another big need has been the farmers in our community. A lot of them are undocumented as well, and so how do we make sure that they're getting the support that they need? A lot of them can't start planting until 3 months, and that means that they're not harvesting for another 3 months. So we're looking at 6 months worth of time before they can actually turn over crop for money. And we heard it a lot when we started canvassing, no crop, no money. So how can we support our farmers? That's a big one as well that we've been dealing with. Yeah, but I think we're moving into the phase of needing something like this, a CAC in our community because of cars that were lost, transportation issues, a direct link to the assistance and the programs that our community are able to qualify and to get and to receive.
I think in this general area, as far as like Waialua Haliva goes, we've been monitoring the intake and outtake of everything, and it has definitely decreased as far as like certain specific needs. Obviously, when there's outpouring of support, there's a lot of people coming to go get those goods. So I think people loaded up and are able to sustain themselves for the time being. Power is being turned on in different locations, and people are kind of getting back to a little bit of normalcy. But there are a very large spectrum of people in different stages, whether demolition or rebuilding, or they had minimal damage. So we're still assessing all of that. But as far as like what we're seeing as far as traffic wise, we're seeing that this downscale to this capacity, along with the support of the city and the state in the same area, would be most sufficient for everybody in this location. And that's what we're trying to just kind of bring everything together so that it's in one stop location basically. Yeah, so we're still asking people to reach out to our various social media links. They've been posted several times and consistently throughout the day. So we just want people to reach out in an organized fashion rather than just showing up on the side of the road and asking like, hey, where can I help? That can ultimately induce a lot of traffic in this area because the lanes are kind of tight and one-way traffic. So we just want to eliminate any of that kind of issues.
And the same can be said for Ko'olauloa, more organized fashion, reaching out to folks that you know who are setting up micro hubs in Laie, asking them what they actually need donated, or reaching out to the Ko'olau Resilience Hub Network key project to be able to go through the fine line list of what's actually needed and moving forward in an organized fashion for volunteer groups as well. Drywall.
Water. Yeah. Well, yeah, so how we said there are various needs, so I would just say like as far as resources, water is definitely always a need. There are food capacities that people need, but it's starting to be a little bit more specific. As far as the rebuilding, we're trying to allocate designated areas to be able to hold as far as like a lumber yard or a drywall area, that people aren't inhibiting this area in that great capacity that's going to create traffic or congestion or anything. So we do have donors that are willing to donate lumber and drywall and those types of construction materials, but once we have the secured locations, we'll be able to allocate those resources to those people, but we're going to consistently do it in a very organized fashion where we have an intake and outtake, gauging addresses and people that are affected, so we're not just having anybody and everybody coming to take these materials.
And I know, I just checked with Scott, our Director of Communications. This went out in a release, but just when we're starting to talk about the road ahead and repair, what in our damage assessment, what we now know is that we lost 23 homes in this area, 23 homes completely gone. There's 235 by definition with FEMA that need major repair. And I believe there's 1489, almost 1,500 homes overall are going to need some kind of repair work. So that's a lot of drywall, a lot of lumber, a lot of other things on the road ahead. But those numbers kind of give you some context as to the kinds of repair work and the kind of needs going forward, and quite honestly, how many families have been impacted. Well, this is really a question for Governor Green. I'm going to be cheering for Governor Green to be highly effective here. I know on our end, with respect to the city and county and the requirements they expect from us, we're making sure we cross every T, dot every I. Okay, and that's why we did the damage assessment, to make sure we've got the right information and a follow-up. There's a mountain of paperwork that goes with this. This is, and I know that the climate is different in D.C., but clearly the damage that's been done here, if ever anywhere there was a case to be made for help at the federal level, this is a situation that warrants it. So I'm hoping for the best. I really want to remain very optimistic. It's been tough enough to deal with the challenges we've had to deal with, but I have to tell you, if you're going to lead in a situation like this, you better be doing it with optimism. So how confident I am, I'm going to hope. How optimistic I am, right now the sky's the limit. We're going to go for everything we can get. And we're going to pull out all stops too. We're not going to be shy in our ask, because the people here deserve that. Okay, we want to represent them as strongly as possible. I don't want to turn this into some kind of bureaucratic jigsaw puzzle that nobody ever has an answer. We're going to go for it. I can promise you that. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we have to deal with. Like I said earlier, the good problem in this right now, it's a function of time and money. The question is, where does that money come from? But time is on our side too. I've said all along, it's a long, long road, but we're going to help people. And as I said earlier, we're going to try to help people all the way until nobody else needs help, as best we can. Okay?